It's me again. I felt so good and took so much weight off my shoulders and chest that I decided to give you another interview. And this time, instead of speaking about the sexual abuse I survived, I'm going to speak about the physical abuse that I survived. The number one reason why I'm disabled for life. I would have to say that as a father myself, I would never use those tactics on anybody, including my own children. My real biological father, once upon a time, gave me quite a huge spanking, and it only happened once, and it was because there was a knife on the floor, and he had told me not to touch it, and I had picked up the knife because my sister was going to go and play with it, and I told her we're not allowed, and when I told her we're not allowed, I picked it up, and I went and I sat on the couch to wait for my father, and as I did that, I cut my grandmother's couch open, and when he came back into the living room at my grandmother's house, he gave me the whooping that scarred my memory for life. Today I don't think that it was a bad thing, because I learned a lot from that particular spanking. Everything else after that in my lifetime, I did not learn anything from. Still, even though today I have a black belt in karate, I still don't defend myself. And so over time, that kind of abuse stopped me from being able to defend myself. And so, even though sexual abuse is the worst trauma anybody can go through, physical abuse hurts like a freaking bitch. And you probably won't see me cry through this interview because well, I got a lot stronger over time on that side of my life. And the reason why I'm talking about this again is to raise awareness and again help those people that are following in our footsteps, try to give them a way out before they explode and before they commit major crime out of revenge. And so after that particular beating there, my grandmother had come to my rescue, and it was all beautiful, la-di-da. I started school, and at school that's when the beatings started. They started happening at school, and the principal at school was beating me because I was writing with my left hand, and I wasn't allowed. Now today, I know for a fact that we all have children, most of us, and that they write with their left or their right. It's no biggie as long as they learn how to do it properly, right? And so from there, school started, and things unraveled, and then I got pushed off the monkey bars with some wind. And to me, and with the psychology about this whole thing, when I was pushed off those monkey bars, a lot of traumas, like a lot of things were starting to happen. Like I was hearing echo, I'd say a word and it repeat itself, and all that kind of stuff. And slowly over time, those bubbles there, they heal and they go away. But I did lose my memory when I was 5 or 6, and that's how I lost my memory the first time, was by falling off the monkey bars at school. And this happened maybe a year or so before the principal and the teachers were fired from that school, because a year later I was again beaten by the same principal and the same, well, not the same teacher, but this time it was a 3rd grade teacher, and I still to this day don't remember whom was in that class with me. When that kind of stuff happens to anybody, I don't care who you are, but there, the world will help in a second. And the other kind of abuse, they tend to be iffy about it. Why, I still don't know why. I can't really answer why. I can tell you where to go if it ever happens to you, but I can't tell you why they favor one kind of abuse over another. So I figured I might as well speak of them both. And so the head traumas and the major bobos in my head took a while to heal, and the reason I'm disabled today is not necessarily because of the hits that I suffered to the head. As for my head today is okay, is quite fine. Like I said, I did spend a lot of money into psychology, and the government spent a lot of money into psychology in order to try and get behind all of this and try and fix all of this. But it's all a waste if I don't get to speak about it and maybe help somebody else in the future. Because those hits there, if you don't get yourself the proper help for that kind of hits to the head, over time your brain might swell by itself and cause huge major headaches. Aside from that, it becomes like a medical issue, but and it can even cause internal bleeding to a point where you're gonna feel like nails to the head, and that's like internal bleeding that's kind of drying up and rubbing itself against the scalp, the skull on the inside, not where the skin and the scalp is, but where the brain and the skull is. And those are also, up to that point there, those people were reprehended. I was in the midst of lawsuits. I don't know where all those lawsuits are. I am still a little bit afraid of those lawsuits. But if you don't deal with it right away, waiting 10, 20, 30 years to get justice on those things is nearly impossible. It is possible, according to the civil law, to have these people reprehended and to have some sort of compensation package done for you in most of the countries across the planet. So if you live those episodes and you don't remember, you will eventually remember. Our memories are built, like I said, everything's programmed in the back of the head, and it's a subconscious, and it's all part of psychology. And when you lose your memory has a tendency of giving you some kind of flashes. It's like, whoa, like I've already been there, a déjà vu. A lot of people might know what a déjà vu is. Wasn't I here before? Or haven't I seen this before? And that's your brain telling you, yeah, you have. And it's slowly healing itself and slowly coming back. It's not usually something that disables us forever, but it can disable you for short periods of time. And then depending on the extent of the hits to the head, because if it causes coma, I have had a few coma states myself, that's when it becomes very dangerous, and to a point where you should not be left alone for periods of time. And I've healed from all those hits to the head, aside from the tiredness, and that's why I want to talk about it, because a lot of people wonder why I can only stay up 10 hours, 12 hours a day, when before I was able to work 18-hour shifts and still have a few hours and then go to sleep for 4 or 5 hours and then start again, and I could do this for years at a time. Today that's not even possible. There are medications available to help in those ways and give you more energy and stuff like that, but I'm one who likes to heal. I'm one who likes to heal first in order not to, and I'm one who likes to heal first, so it doesn't happen again, kind of thing. Okay, so I mean, if you heal first and then you deal with how much energy we have and stuff like that, then if medications are needed, then we would look into that kind of stuff there. You each have your own doctors and stuff like that to heal traumas like that, but the reason why I'm talking about it is because, like I said in the first interview, my real father was blamed for the sexual traumas that we suffered, but it's not usually the fathers that do any kind of those bobos. In my case, my stepfather, which became after the episodes at school, he's the one that actually became the most scariest person on the planet for me. Today I'm twice his size, and he is very scared of me, and I totally understand why. When I was a child, I was explaining to my mother what the teacher and the director, the school principal, was doing to me, and he was taking a ruler and he was banging on my fingers with a huge 1 meter ruler, and that's how he was punishing me before he put me on the wall and tell me to stick my nose on the wall and pray. And from there, that man who was now my stepfather attacked me, and he really attacked me and grabbed me by the neck and squished me on a wall, and he broke my neck to a point where the cartilage, this here is it's like all one piece, and we got the Adam's apple right here. Well, this whole piece here, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up properly, but that's it. There's nothing there. It's broken in half. It's broken in half, and that part there I want to talk about, because that's the reason why I had trouble keeping up with my own albums, because I'd write songs like the Angel Heart album and stuff like that. And today, if you'd ask me to sing the pop version of Life Is Love, I have a lot of trouble. And if you ask me to do the acoustic version, it's a lot easier, because I've learned to use just this normal voice to sing, like my speaking voice. And so there's no Celine Dion in me, and no Elton John. I can't push my notes as far as I used to be able to as a singer-songwriter back in the old days. And the reason why I want to raise awareness on that is because if you keep that anger in, there's two things that happen to a dog if it's beaten. If you beat it up, a dog will cower in the corner and pee on the floor all the time, right? And become very sketchy of the world. And the reason why I'm saying this is because some people and some doctors and those trying to fix all the bobos that have happened in 2012, if you don't get it right, you'll be medicating the wrong thing, and you'll be trying to fix the wrong bobo, which means in turn you might crisscross and actually have a man or a woman react in a way that you ended up causing, because if she's in there for sexual trauma, it's a different kind of pill that she would be needed. But yet the physical trauma, you're kind of skeptic and afraid of people a lot in the same kind of reaction. And if you don't speak about it, if you don't talk to the people, and you don't tell them as you're going what the bobo is and what you're feeling and what you're reacting out of, then there's no way for any doctor to be able to help you. The doctors will try and help you, and while they're trying to help you, they'll eliminate one thing at a time. Well, in the process of elimination, you can cause bigger and more I want to say creative, but it's not creative to go crazy, but more dangerous ways of a person, more dangerous ways to react. You'll end up reacting because of the pill that you just took. Me, for example, they thought that I was getting aggressive, and I was very excited and had a lot of energy and stuff like that, but I'd keep to myself. And so when I turned 8, 9 years old, they gave me some Ritalin, and a guy like me cannot have Ritalin in his body. You put Ritalin in a body like mine, and I will react with anger. It won't sedate the anger. It'll actually push out the anger, because Ritalin is not made to heal post-trauma disorder. It's made to heal a specific chemical imbalance, and doctors don't always know that. And so if the public, with these interviews, the public can start being better doctors for themselves, so when they do go see their doctors, they can explain to their doctors a little more on how they're reacting and what they're feeling when they're going through it, so that the doctors don't end up giving you the wrong medication. These are things that have happened to me, and including the wrong medication was given to me on 2 different occasions, to a point where I ended up reacting, and I couldn't even tell, wow, what the heck did I just do? And it's because, well, I did not need the Ritalin. I needed a caring soul around me that would listen. And back as a child, here in our country, they wouldn't listen to children. Today, we changed that. Today, children come first, and I am one to stand for that. So, all children, even when your daddies get mad at you, you're just an example. Your daddies get mad at you, and he's yelling. The yelling that your daddy is doing is making you feel something. It's all right for the child to look back up at your daddy and say, "Hey, don't talk to me like that. It scares me." Right? That way there, what you just installed in your brain, is a way for you never to be stepped on again. And that's how you're gonna win over bullying. Because bullying, what happens is, a bully, okay, has had a rough life, and he's trying to roll his public and control his public, and by doing so, he only gets stronger if we don't speak. So the bully wins when people don't talk. Now, I'm not saying to these children or these young adults to go out and cause trouble and set fire to your city. That's a big no-no. That's you're breaking the law. You can still get what's on your mind out and fix most of those bobos by just speaking it out. Sometimes it'll come out in yelling form, and that's also okay. Your daddies are not allowed to start spanking you around. That's against the law. They are allowed to tap your finger and say, "Hey, that's enough." See, stuff like that is allowed, but to the point where they'll grab a stick to spank your ass or grab your neck and throw you and stuff like that. I myself have never seen a real daddy do that to his children. I've read stories, but in my life experience, it was stepdaddy and teachers that did that to me, up until they put me in those reform style schools where it was like a McHugh, how to explain that? It's a place where they check your brain, make sure you're competent and you're not going to hurt yourself or anybody if you go back to a normal school. So they try and put you in a school where it's all kids about the same as you. Me, I was in those schools, but I didn't need to be in those schools. Over time, today, and I guess it's there because it gave me a chance to be able today to speak about it, and maybe gave me a chance to show the differences in life where you can survive stuff and overcome all those things and become greater. Like I said in the other interview, If you beat me up, we're a victim now. We're not going to go and beat up somebody. Okay? Two things happen to the dog, right? One, he'll cower down and pee. Two, over time, he learns how to bark. And that's why I told the world about the French Jesus, Jesus Christ, in French, Jésus Christ, the French silent revolution. It's not silent anymore. You're allowed to yell out your bobo. That's the best way for people to understand you. It's the best way for us to know. You can't really start destroying your daddies because your daddies had a bad day and is yelling at you. He's also allowed to yell. Okay? So a child can be guilty of certain things just as much as a father or a stepfather or a teacher or a government, in my case, that bullied over the person. So you gotta find a proper balance between the two. But when it starts happening over and over and over again, that's when it starts getting dangerous, because a lot of people were scared of me for quite a while, and I didn't know that, and I didn't know why. And today I do know that, and today I do know why. And that's when they stuck me not only in jail, they put me in jail for committing crimes, but I never committed those crimes. It's just because they had no proof, they had no evidence, and then they scared me, and then I kind of said, see? And because I acted like that without being able to say, hey, no, I didn't do it. I see the difference? Now maybe he would have turned around and said, oh, okay, next. But because I didn't keep saying that, hey, I didn't do it, it made my life a lot harder than most. But nonetheless, I've heard more than one case like that, where there's a lot of people that lose their minds and take their lives 20, 30 years down the road because they pled to something out of fear. I'm not the first case, and I know I'm not going to be the last case, because this is one that is almost nearly impossible to stop. The law is the law, and there's only 3 books on the law, right? There's a family book, it's big like a Bible. There's a criminal book, big like a Bible, and there's a civil book, big like the Bible, and then there's the Bible, big like the Bible. Okay? So there's 4 laws that everybody on the planet must learn and follow in order to have respect for each other and everything. If we don't learn about all those things, I would not be able to sit here. I would not be able to sit here today and tell you about it, and tell you how you can save your own life. Because the minute you let one bully win over you, bully number 2 is just around the corner. Bully number 3 is just behind that bully. Bully number 4 is just behind that bully. Understand? It's a chain reaction that it sets off. And without speaking, and that's why I said in the other interview, speak now. Without speaking, you can't fix it. So those who stop talking, whether it's the sexual abuse or whether now it's the physical abuse, you're just hurting yourself more. So the best way for you to not get stuck like that is to start, first of all, by having a journal. If you have a journal and you write in your journal, over time, if you're still not talking, because I went a few years without being able to speak a word. I wouldn't speak to anybody. I was afraid, very afraid, and I lived in fear. But I learned and I read books and I asked questions, but only when I could. And the rest of the time, I tried to make friends by being funny. And so that kind of gave me a spiral, but it kind of spiraled downwards because I wasn't doing it properly. Over time, I learned how to do it properly, and quite fast, because I didn't want to lose any of my arms or fingers or legs. And this is society that was actually doing this to me. And the stepfather, I don't know what happened to him. Today I know he is afraid, and he's protected by the 35,000 police officers that really hate me. So between the 35,000 police officers over here that have managed to dislocate both my shoulders, even break a few ribs, and the conservative government that managed to have me in their government buildings while they broke some ribs and also damaged my spine, and all those things there added up as I have fist. And there's the beginning of the reason why I became disabled. It's not because of my head at all, not because I lived any of this at all, also because I've always been able to work, and I'm still capable of working. Folks, you know this, I still write music, I still make movies, and I'm still capable of speaking out, and that to me is possibility. Well, there's quite a few possible jobs out there, right? I could eventually become some kind of president or prime minister, you know. They don't have to lift a pencil then. It's very easy for them as psychiatrists just to do a little job like that. So there's still hope for a few jobs, and I have been working my whole life, but the reason why I became disabled is because of those major bobos there that they caused. And while they did that, while I was in the rehabs and the open custody houses and the prisons and stuff like that, they bashed my head around, and they cracked my skull, all these things, and damaged the spine. All those things added together is why I ended up being disabled. Not because I became mentally ill, because I am not mentally ill, but it's a physical thing. I broke both my ankles because, well, if you read the movie, if you read the book Misery, or you read the movie Misery, to me this is God's doing, and that's what I blame God for. I blame God for my ankles, because after we made the movie Misery, and in that movie, Miss Claiborne is the actress, and she portrayed my mother, and we did it like that because it was kind of a little twist and a fun twist to it, because the stepfather, and in that movie actually there's just my mother, my stepfather, and my sister, my older sister, and one who was never hurt much in her life, and she kind of got away from all the tortures, kind of like my baby brother. So anyways, after we made that movie, in that movie you'll see that Miss Claiborne takes both of the ankles out of the stepfather's while he's tied up in bed, and then she buries him alive in the backyard. And today I think that's a little funny, because when I came back from Hollywood and I came to this town, they had told me that stepfather had burned alive. So I was like, holy jeez, like it was kind of freaky that they were making a movie more real than what we had already lived. It's like some of my songs that I write, and then I have a public that likes to reenact my songs back towards me, and I find that kind of freaky, because it's not like we're trying to scare people, we're trying to help people, we're raising awareness with entertainment in order to save everybody else. You're not supposed to redo what you see on TV, right? And anyways, not long after the movie came out, God took out both my ankles. And the reason why I say God took out both my ankles is because I was playing baseball once, a sport that my father wanted me to play, and I was in the field, and I ran, and I jumped up in the air, and as I jumped up in the air, I almost caught the ball. I dropped the ball, but almost caught the ball. As I landed, my first ankle shattered and broke 3 bones, and ligaments were ripped apart, and that just happened just like that. Now, that was freaky. My ankle was out. A few months later, not even a year later, the next season, it was snow. I was working as a salesman, and my other ankle was shattered just going to knock on a door. And so in my head, I made sense of it as being kind of God teaching me, make sure it's just entertainment and it's not to scare people, right? Because scaring people, you sort of become somewhat of a terrorism, and that's not what we are. That's not what I am. That's not what anybody I've actually known is. The reason why I'm speaking of this is because that's those ankles there for me today stop me from being able to stand up all day. So I cannot stand up all day long from just that. And when I wrote the story, I was actually writing the story because I was mad at my stepfather. My stepfather was hurting us, and nobody was doing anything about it. And because nobody was doing anything about it, I was writing it. And as I wrote it, nothing ever happened to my stepfather, but it was like life hurt me back a second time. And so that's why I encourage people to go to church and to talk to God and to follow those commandments and stuff like that, because somewhere along the line, God will punish you. Now, when I was writing that particular story, I was hoping that my stepfather would get hurt. And so that's when my career changed a little. I stopped writing for a while, and then I went back into the writings after I had proven to the world that I was just writing and not trying to scare anybody. That's not the plan. The plan is not to scare you. The plan is to raise awareness. And the more you know, the less fear you have. Because fear is unknown. That's where fear stems from. We don't know when somebody else is going to hurt me, so I barricade my doors at night time because I don't know if it's going to happen again tonight, right? That's fear. I still sleep with the lights on. Yes, just like the interview way back when, and all those things there. And from there, after that, I noticed that more and more people were starting to hurt me, and I always wondered why. Why? And because of my memory loss, I couldn't remember that I was writing these stories. And today I should be a multi-millionaire with all this work, and I still haven't seen a penny. So maybe that's kind of punishment because maybe some people got afraid. I'd like to tell the public, and take this chance to tell the public that that's the last thing on my mind is to scare you. Me, I'm all about showing you life is love, and then my books and my movies are above and beyond in order to raise awareness from them. And I always taught my kids, and I always teach my kids, that you cannot redo what you see on television, but given a chance, before you go out and hurt somebody back out of revenge or something like that, why don't you take a chance and write it down? And so because certain psychologists told me to do that, write it down, and including my mother, she would tell me and encourage me to write them down, and I would. And so that way there, I would save myself from getting mad enough to spike revenge. Revenge does not usually come from the victim that's been sexually abused. The victim that's sexually abused tends to run away from stuff and tends to become real funny, compared to somebody that's been physically hurt. The physical abuse tends to build a grudge bone inside of us and a revenge bone inside of us. And in order for that revenge bone not to backfire or not to explode out in public and stuff like that and get mad for no reason, I'm speaking about it today in order to help the rest of the world. Now I'm under full control, and like I said, I've been army trained and so much more. So today there is no chance of any of those bubbles ever happening for me, but they're still happening outside in society with other people. And I want to tell those other people that I understand you. I know exactly what you went through. I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly what you might end up doing in the next 5-10 years. And to save you, I would encourage you to either speak it out loud or write it down. Often enough, look what happened with my stories. We made books out of them, now we're making movies out of them. Now, I've wrote songs my whole life, and the musician in me took one train, one road, going to the same direction as I've always wanted. But my acting and my movies, they tend to go everywhere. So, like, I have comedy, I have romantic stuff, I have some spooky stuff, I have mass murders, I have quite a huge range of stories, because I am the most creative person on the planet. And like I said, I want to take this chance to talk to the world about it, because it can save your children. Too often enough, a bully became a bully. Why? Nobody on the planet knows how to answer that. Well, I know how to answer that. A bully became a bully because he at one point in time was physically abused. It's the physical abuse that turns us into bullies. And I'd be the first to tell you that often enough I wanted to become a bully. But my education and my training was keeping me busy enough not to. And the reason why I was put in some of these homes and some of these prisons that I did not deserve kind of trained the storyline so it stays in the same kind of path also, just like the music. The musician in me, I was born with, and I will die a musician, but the creative part in me will eventually die. I will run out of story ideas to write about and to make movies of, but I'll never run out of guitar playing or piano playing. There'll always be more of that, because nothing caused the musician in me, but all the physical abuse did cause most of the anger that I lived with my entire life. And having all these adults and authorities and the conservative government attack me like that, with me being as smart as I was, knowing the criminal law, I was defensive. I couldn't protect myself at all. As I grew older, I became a full-out Christian, whereas I have 13 commandments, not 10. And my first commandment is, "Thou shalt never draw arms." You know, that's very dangerous in a world that's always all the time at war. You know, it's scary. You can't just, for a guy like me to pick up a gun, there's no way, not gonna happen. But for most of you, when you do it, it's like, wow, what brought you to do that? That's what the world would say, because right now they're talking, you know, guns in schools and stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, there's always going to be someone bigger, someone stronger, someone more powerful. So to tit for tat on who's going to bring what and who's going to do what and who's going to do this and who's going to do that between the authority and the people, that's not going to fix the world's problem. The world's problem can only be fixed one way. If we all take the chance to listen. That's the only way. The only way this is all going to fix and all going to stop. The rebel in Syria is so easy to fix. So easy to fix, yet these guys have been at it for years. It's crazy. You can't let all that stuff go on, but then again, one man can't do nothing about it. One man can't speak about it, and then you speak enough about it, and then whoops, somebody heard, and somebody now saw the video, and now Assad he's sitting down. He's not going to war. See? Stuff like that. And that's how you fix and change the world, is by writing or speaking about it. And writing it is the way to save your own lives. Speaking about it is the way to save everybody else's lives. So it becomes a psychology 101 thing again, but nonetheless, we're trying to make a world safer to play in. You know, when we were kids, we were able to go outside, not care about any of this, like we were wearing blinders, and we'd play with all the other children. We'd play ball, we'd play marbles, we'd play skip and rope, we'd play football, we'd play hockey, we played everything, right? And never had a trouble. We start getting hungry, we run home and your mama or dada had some food almost on the table already, you know? Sacrifice, all you had to do is remember how to wash your hands before you ate and stuff like that. Sacrifice, that was life, the best of life, because we never had a care, or a worry to worry about when it came to feeding ourselves and stuff like that. When you become an adult, it's a totally different ballgame. Okay, and you can let children under 5 know about all this stuff, because it's very important. The first cycle of life is what makes the human. There's 3 cycles in the child psychology, and there's 0 to 7, 8 to 14, and 15 to 21. You're still a child at the age of 20. At the age of 21, you're not a child anymore, and that's a normal child all the way across the world. Doesn't matter what country you're from, and that's the child psychology. And if you install, I would say around the age of 4, 5, 6, 7 in a child, all these creepy things that scare us today into a child, not by scaring them, but by talking about it and explaining to them about it, there's less of a chance that those children, when they turn 21, that they want revenge on anything. And 2, they'll be more aware when it comes to sexual predators. Okay? And sacrifice, and what they're going to do, they're not going to try and kill the guy, they're going to run home and tell their mama. They're going to say, Mama, see, there was this guy wearing this jacket, and he was doing this, and he was doing that, and he was trying to do this, and he was trying to do that. It's not being a rat, it's saving everybody else's lives. And that's every single one of us' duty, to report those things. We're not supposed to keep that stuff in. We are supposed to rat out our lives. That's the way we're going to keep planet Earth. Otherwise, we will see the destruction of planet Earth within days or months or years. Do you understand? To save all that stuff from happening, we must speak out. We must tell the world, hey, enough is enough. And we don't do that by taking our own guns and being tougher than the law. Do you understand? That's challenging. My first command is that I shall never draw arms. Meaning, even if those 35,000 police officers get mad at me again tomorrow on Boxing Day, I still can't defend myself. And I'm surviving. I've survived all this stuff. 90% of people that ever lived half of what I've lived in my life are dead today. Because it's too harsh for even the brain to stay awake. It's impossible. And the reason, like I said, I'm talking about all this is because I want also to explain the reason why I'm tired all the time. Okay? I don't want the crack and cocaine and all that stuff for me. I don't need that. Even as a musician, folks, I play better music sober, and that I saw it in myself in 5, 6, 7 years ago. Today it wouldn't matter, but say years in the back, and that's why I kept saying, and I emphasize big on say no to drugs, because the more we say no to drugs, the less those people have a chance to earn money to buy extra guns and extra bombs to build and destroy our schools. We must stand together. United we will stand. Divided we crumble every single time. And whether it's God knocking planes down with avalanches, or God say burying the world with snow, or say nature that way, or a tsunami, or tornadoes, or hurricanes, you know, those are big things, and it freaks us out, We are very afraid of that power, We have no control over what Mother Nature will bring next. You know, every year there's about 20, 30 storms that come up the East Coast every single year, and there's nothing we can do about it. But what do? We still live on the East Coast. They still build on the East Coast. They still get bigger on the East Coast. You know? Over time, we learn how to survive those storms. I guess Christopher Columbus, 500 years ago, when he landed here, his first 3 boats, everybody died except for Christopher Columbus. You have to go back and get some more boats all the time in order for them to eventually adapt and learn how to live here. And it wasn't because they were dying because there was war. There wasn't war. At first, when Christopher Columbus was arriving here, he was friends with the Indian that was already here. He wasn't going to war with them. The war started happening when other countries wanted a part of the land. When England wanted some, when the Americans, who came from where? Where do the Americans come from? Our forefathers down south. Huh? See, if you learn all your history, and it's very easy to learn them, it's only 1 year of school, but if you learn all those things, you put 2 and 2 together, and it makes 4, right? So 2 and 2 is 4 here in Canada, 2 and 2 is 4 there in England, 2 and 2 is 4 in Africa, right? We can't start changing that. That's impossible. It's like a blueprint, and as long as the blueprint is laid out in front of you, it will be an easy road, right? How to build a complex from scratch with no blueprint. Yeah, sure you can if you're really good at it, but it still might go crooked on you. Huh? But if you have the blueprint in front of you, there's no way you can make a mistake as long as you follow your directions. The reason why I'm speaking this, folks, is because it's very important. As simple like that. We don't learn enough in school. Our teachers don't always have the time and energy to go above and beyond to teach you certain things. And often enough, a lot of folks don't go to college or university. Now, if everybody on the planet succeeds and goes to college and university, and you get yourself a master's degree and a piece of paper stating what you are and who you become, then, wow, we're all winners. Because we know, because there's a blueprint again. And that is very important, because the abuse, physical abuse especially, does not only happen in my house. It did not only happen in my house, it happened all over the planet. And people were beaten for absolutely no reason. Remember the war, if you guys know anything about the Second World War, there was a lot of war there. A lot of blonde-haired, green-eyed men and women and children were burnt to crisp because we did not look like Hitler. Today, the life is not like that, right? I became the minority on planet Earth, yet in my high school days, the battles were between black and white, and I never understood that. There was black people in my schools, and they thought they were the minority, even in Canada, and that disgusted me to the bone, because I have been the minority on the planet my entire life. So that's why education is the most important thing. The people that beat me up had no education. The stepfather that started all this crap had no education. Spent his time drinking, and having, you know, whatever the time of his life on it, to each his own kind of idea and a state of mind. And he was the first one to try and hurt me. And it's the same thing all over the planet. It's very, very, very important, first off, for all of us, and even you children following us, to go finish your school first and foremost. And if you can do that before you start getting married, before you start having sex, then we're going to be less afraid. And just because you're going to be something, you become something, there'll be less of a chance that you're going to turn around and attack us. And I'm trying to say this because putting guns in our schools is the wrong thing to do. And it's very important, if everybody gets on the same page and everybody understands it better, then everybody will be safer. And that's how we stand together before we crumble. Otherwise, what's going to happen? We are going to crumble, and then we'll have to put the pieces back together. See, with sexual abuse, we can't always stop it. We can't always stop it ahead of time. It happens after, and then we have to fix the bubble. And that's like a guy or a girl, doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, if you're a child or an adult, a sexual abuse victim will suffer forever. The rest of my life, I will have those fears. That's a fact, and that will never go away. Okay? But then comes the physical abuse. A form of control is what is causing these people to abuse other people. And the last thing we want is for the children of the future to feel that they're being controlled. What we want to do is raise awareness and give them more videos like this, where they can listen for a little while and understand that, it makes sense. Okay? At first, you might say, oh, he's boring, I became pretty cool, man. I'm the best guitar player on the planet. So I know at least 100 million people on planet Earth do listen to me, right? And that's above and beyond. And I'm not here to teach you guys, but I want to give you a blueprint that will save your futures. Like today, if I die, it won't change my life. I'm going to heaven. But if you die, it'll change your mama's life, your daddy's life, your brother's life, your sister's life. Do you understand? And it'll spiral that way. And then it'll affect. But if you die, it'll affect everybody. Okay? And the last thing I want to see or hear is another child being taken away too early before its time. Because our planet is going to be very beautiful in the near future. And it's going to bloom like morning glories everywhere. And I believe that to be true. But in order for that to happen, we had to start by speaking to each other. Okay? And since I am afraid of going outside still a lot, I do go outside once a day on most occasions, but because I am still afraid, I'm trying to raise awareness on this in order and in hopes that it does not happen to somebody else. We seclude ourselves because we are turned down at school, because too many girls said no to me, or vice versa, too many guys said no to you, say, stuff like that. And the only way to fix that bobo and to avoid that bobo from getting any bigger than what it's been in 2012, is by bringing back the angels for 2013. And that's my, what do you call that, when we make a vow on New Year's Day, right? Some vow that they'll never smoke again, some vow that they'll never cry again, some vow that they'll be truthful or faithful and all that things there. Well, I vow that I will stand for all children on the planet, no matter what country you're from. Okay? And the only way to do so is not by allowing those people who yell at me that I'm sick in the head and all these kinds of things. I ignore that kind of stuff. Okay? Those bullies there will eventually get reprehended. We will, and the police will, no matter what, in the near future, have no choice but to stop the provocating on this planet. And that's a big law in every country on the planet, and it's a law that nobody upholds. Well, 2013, we're changing that. In 2013, if you provoke, you will be reprehended. Okay? Because the provocation is what leads to the fist fight. Now in hockey, for example, okay, we both drop the gloves, we both have a normal fight, we both get 5 minutes. But in hockey, for example, if I drop the gloves and I say, you come over here, and I grab the guy, he's not punished. I would be. Right? A little blueprint for you. Now we try and make hockey less violent because we want the world to be less violent. And I understand that entertainment is different. Okay? For entertainment, we want to be entertained with stuff like that. And like I said, I have movies coming out in the near future that are very provocative. But there are movies. It's for entertainment. When you go to school and this starts happening in your classes or in your gym class or even in your hallways, if you don't report it, we won't be able to fix it. Now don't let those people scare you by saying, oh, do you think I'm a rat? They'll beat me up even more later. They won't. I started talking about this 10 years ago, folks. And aside from three major rapes and then 3 major battles with the law attacking me, it stopped. Okay? I'm not saying you have to report what other people are doing. That is not our job to do so. But when it involves yourself, then report it all. Because that's the only way to change the future. That's the only way you'll go to school, and even I, if I want to go back to university for another course, how would I be able to do that? Being so afraid that somebody's going to walk in there and take everybody out. Hey, that's spooky stuff. Physical abuse is the worst, and that's everywhere on the planet. Okay, no matter how disgusting the sexual abuse is, and how screwed up we become because of the sexual abuse, the physical abuse stop us from working, stop us from being able to even go get a glass of water sometimes. Okay, force us to have to sit. Now, we've all been to school, and most of you are going through school, and we all do about 20 years worth of school where we sit in class. While we learn how to sit, we don't need to get bashed in to learn how to sit, right? So while you're in school and you're sitting and you're paying attention and you're reading and you're taking your notes so you remember, you're changing the world. It's not me that's changing the world anymore. Huh? The ones who are changing the world are you guys that are listening today. Just like that. That's how you change the world. Okay? And the reason why I want to talk about this so desperately is because I am getting tired, folks. And there's a possibility that I'm going to die before I'm 50, maybe. Okay? And that's due to the hits to the head and the fact that my spine has been crushed. Okay? Once upon a time, I was working in a warehouse, and a big carpet roll that weighs more than a car, it weighs 2,500 pounds. And it's not the carpet part that fell on my head, but the metal bar that holds the carpet onto that bracket fell on my head, and it cracked my skull, and I bled, and that disabled me for life. Because it also, at the same time that happened, it crushed some ligaments here. Instead of ripping them, it kind of tensed them up like that, and it crushed the lower back of my spine. Now who do I got to blame for that? Nobody, I guess, huh? Except for the guy before me who didn't put it up there properly. Safety first. And if it's safety first, because I've done so much work in construction, if safety is first, then everybody will be safe. If safety comes later, then everybody's picking up the pieces of the puzzle trying to fix it. And we've had at least look, we have what, 650 BC before Christ? That's 650 years plus the 2,000 years, because we're in 2012. So 2012 plus 640, we're at 2,700 years that we've been around, and we've recorded everything. Now some of us smart people have put together all that. We read it all. We read it all from top to bottom, and from bottom to top, in order to be able to explain the kids to the future. Hey, there's an easier way. You don't have to go back and learn certain few things here and there. It's all cramped up in your school program now. 20 years, you'll know just enough to need to know, and then go get your master's degree. Go get a piece of paper stating who you are, because on planet Earth, that's what gives you the right to speak. As a child, we want more, we want more, we want more. And I understand we want more. I wanted more my whole life. I never got more. I got less because I asked for more. Okay? But the world, we don't want it to be like that. We want it to be pretty. We want it to be nice. We want it to be cool, right? And that's why I wrote music in all aspects of the world. In country, some people don't like country, right? So I wrote rock and roll, and some people don't like rock and roll, so I wrote pop music, and some people don't like pop music, so I wrote heavy metal music. And see, and then the piano, I say that's classical music. See, in order to reach as many people as I possibly can, because in order to change the world, the children must hear everything we have to say. In order to avoid more physical abuse, we all have to listen to what I have to say. If you don't, it's you that's losing out directly, and two, we are losing out, because the fact that you did not pay attention is the fact that somebody else is going to get beaten up tomorrow. And to avoid those beatings from happening, those physical beatings from happening, listening is the first thing we have to do. By listening, we are winning. I've listened to all of you scream all kinds of stuff. Not stuff that you're all mad at me for, stuff that you wanted me to try and fix. And I've been working my head off reading the books and reading the Bibles and reading the law books and all those things in order to try and help you. If it was just up to me, I would say I don't want to do it. I don't want to change the world. I just wanted to sing and make some money. Alright? But I never made a penny with my books. I so far never made a penny with my music. And I'm not making that much money with my movies either. Okay? All I've ever wanted in my entire life was to be able to build a house. So I can live in my own home forever instead of traveling all over the place and being pushed around by bullies all the time. I'm talking about this because it's happening to a lot of people. Okay? There are rebels winning in places where they shouldn't, and then there are governments winning in places where they shouldn't. You understand? And we have to bring a balance to that if we are going to save the planet. Because if we don't, we're going to destroy ourselves again. And it won't be just a war that'll end in 10 years like the Afghanistan war. It'll be a war that'll keep going on forever until there's hardly nobody left on the planet. Meaning Hitler would have won on the Second World War. And we all know that what Hitler did was wrong. And so if we can all be on the same page, we'll have a better life ahead of us. Okay? I'm not spending my time getting better for me anymore. I'm spending my time getting better for my children and the rest of the children, because I have the best interests of all children in mind. And it's one thing to yell. It's one thing to follow those 13 commandments. You all know them as 10 commandments. But I have the "thou shalt never draw arm." I have that the back door is exit only. Homosexuality is a sin. No means no. Don't touch means don't touch, even in play. If you feed those, meaning you don't listen to those 13 little rules, what happens is you're telling your body that you're better, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're becoming a bully. If you follow those 13 little rules, you are saving yourself from being able to commit those nasty crimes out there. And the bullying and the beating up and the hitting to the heads and the physical abuse does not come from just anybody. It's not a specific type of people that do that. It's those that have trouble following the 10 commandments. Simple as fact. And this was discovered not by myself. This was discovered by doctors and nurses, not nurses, but doctors and psychiatrists all over the world. They discovered that. And they discovered that about 100 years ago. And if they discovered that 100 years ago, how come it's taken so long for somebody like me to come out and speak it? I don't want to be a priest. I'm not saying this for a priest. I'm showing you respect. And as we all respect each other, then we win. The only way to win is with those 13 rules. And not as a religion, as a way of life, as respect. Those 10 commandments are there so we learn how to respect each other, one another. And if we respect one another, and everybody follows those 10 rules, 13 in my book with my children, then nobody's hurting anybody. Meaning there is no more physical abuse. Just like that. There is no more sexual abuse. Just like that. And holy moly, there won't even be any emotional abuse. Just like that.
Because by following those 13 rules, we get stronger. I was crying in my last interview, I'm very weak because sexual abuse is the #1 reason why we go crazy. The physical abuse, it depends what kind of dog you are, or how much abuse you're willing to take. Eventually it'll hurt enough that your brain will react alone by itself, trying to stand back up for yourself. But sometimes it's too late. Look at me. I'm black belt karate. Today, I can't even jump. I can't even do a roundhouse. In my movies, it'll be different, look. In my movies, I show that I still can, but it's a movie, okay? I can't even do a roundhouse, okay? And that's scary, right? If a whole gang of people tried to attack me today, I would not be able to defend myself. I would have to use my smarts. I would have to be able to tell these people, hey, listen, what exactly are you looking for? Okay? Find a way to talk them down. Well, we're not all pros at that, especially if these guys start wearing guns, and oh, there's guns in schools now, so these guys are wearing grenades and bombs. Oh boy, and what if, say, and that keeps escalating up and up and up and up and up. And that kind of train of thought cannot be to each our own at all. Cannot be to each our own. It has to be the same for everybody. Whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, whether you're female, or whether you're male. Simple as fact. Okay? I know these words are going to save a lot of people. Okay? I know they're not just going to save one person. I know these words are going to save a lot of people. And so be it, because that's the plan. The plan is to make sure that even if I die, you guys still have a little blueprint that can save you. And it's not a way to get into heaven. That I leave up to the Pope. Okay? They got their stuff, the Christians, you got your religions out there for that specific thing. But for respect, it's the 10 commandments plus the 3 little rules that I just spoke of, without no more hunting. If you don't tame the hunter out of you, you will never win over the physical abuse. Because every time you have a drink or anything like that, the first reaction that you get if somebody confronts you is to put up your dukes as a self-defense thing. Well, as you're doing your self-defense thing, the other opponent is doing the same. Now one of you is going to hit each other. And that's why physical abuse happens to a lot of people. Not because we to each our own. 13 rules. And the easiest way to tame the hunter out of you, God, there's guys and ladies, there are no more animals to hunt on planet Earth. Nobody needs a gun. Nobody. Not even the police. Not even the army. Fact of life. We should be wasting that money into making cool spaceships so we can fly around, instead of making guns to kill each other. Nobody wants that. I certainly don't. And I know for a fact 100 million people that follow and write, buy my books and all that kind of stuff, they don't want that either. They like the entertainment form about it, but they don't want it in real life. And so the only way to do it, my whole family, they were hunters. I never hunted. Not because I was abused either, because I had that connection with God. Easy as pie to change the world, So from now on, everybody who has children, if you want to keep your children safe, teach them those 13 rules. And you will change the world by next generation. The world will be safe again. In the meantime, we're all going to be a little afraid. Because physical abuse happens because those 13 rules are not followed. I say it in my movie, Childhood Decay. My little daughter, she asks me, is it true God is going to kill us if we sin? If God tells you that you do not enter the kingdom and you go to hell, then yeah, He killed you, right? And if hell, you will suffer 100 million times more than what we did here on earth. That's a scary place to be. Huh? So that's God punishing you. So that's God punishing you for not following His 13 little rules. God is not even a being. Okay? He's an energy. And how do we know all this stuff? Because we've seen it happen with our own eyes. We saw the miracles with our own eyes. Today is Christmas. All of you are having fun with those new presents, huh? That's awesome. Merry Christmas. Pretty cool, huh? Jesus is not even a real being anymore. He's still around 2,000 years later. Who kept Him alive? We did. On His birthday, He wanted every children to have a present. Pretty cool, huh? That's 2 thumbs up. Because, like I said, if we follow those 13 rules, we win. If we don't follow those 13 rules, this will keep happening. If God does not kill you for your sin, the war you end up starting with your sin will. So there are 2 ways that we get punished when we don't follow those rules. And this is not daddy or mommy spanking our finger because we did something wrong or sending us on timeout chair. Huh? This is the world. The world getting mad. And how does the world get mad? We see it on the news all the time. They use weapons, they fight each other, they kill each other. Well, we want us to save us from that. And in order for us to save us from that, there are 13 little rules. Right? If I'm not allowed to lie, because lying, what does lying do? Leads you in the wrong direction. Oh, that's not cool. That's not cool, and that's just a lie. Now what about the more aggressive one? Stealing. Stealing, what happens with the stealing? How about what? I lost a lot of stuff because people stole a lot of stuff from me. Huh? I'm not allowed to fight back. I'm not allowed to do that because I do follow the 13 rules to the max, and I will follow them to the day I die. And look at everything they put me through on this planet. A lot of people did, a lot of organizations did, but all in all of this happened to me on planet Earth. Not while I was sleeping, not in a dream state of mind, and not while I was underneath drugs. While I was awake. Those are just a few, okay? The rest is up to you to go and get them. Go research your books. And if everybody does that, the physical abuse on planet Earth will also stop. And that's the only way we'll be able to make you guys a better home to live in, a better world to feel safe in, a place where you can go outside and play all night long without being scared that some of these things are going to happen to you. Right? Right now we can't do that. Can't do that at all. But in the future, and in order to succeed this in the future, we must install that in our children today. And not by beating it into them, by showing them the 13 little rules. So it's every mommy and daddy's job to go get a Bible. Whichever one you choose. All the commandments in every Bible and every religion on the planet say the same rules. The same rules. The only thing that I myself am adding is what I feel God has spoken to me with the no drawing arms. If you don't go like this, there's no chance that on the other side somebody go like this too. Aha! You keep your hands down in your pockets or crossed like that, not too many people are going to walk up to you and hit you. And I noticed that for my own eyes. And those who have followed me have noticed that with their own eyes also. So just to let you know, I'm a dragon. My name is Stephane Poulin. I was born in 1976. Our style of dragon is on its way to heaven. How do we change the world? By following the blueprint. You play by the rules, you follow the rules, you stay safe. You play by the rules, you follow the rules, you change the world. You play by the rules, and you follow the rules, and everybody can get rich and famous. To win, you must follow the rules. Real simple. To stop abuse on planet Earth, everybody has to follow the rules. Provocation is a form of drawn arms. A sin as well as a crime. Us dragon, and there are lots of dragons on planet Earth. We serve and protect. We do not attack and harass. Hope this was very helpful, because it's the only way to stop all that is going wrong on planet Earth right now. My gift to you this Christmas 2012.